Like, abortion's a great topic. When you're trying to convince somebody that's religious, like, to be pro-life, you're like, you don't understand what's going on there, dude.
This is in the 90s.
I'm pro-life.
Do you mean pro-choice?
Pro-choice, I apologize.
Right. Like, for convenience sake? And
you're trying to convince them that it's okay to kill a baby.
Fill it up and take it out. Men make the laws, and men could get pregnant. Men would have abortions everywhere.
Yeah. It's very complex, and I understand both sides of it.
No fucking chance you'd be able to tell another man that he's going to have to keep a baby.
If she wants to eject this from her body.
At what point in time? Like, could you stop it when it's a clump of cells?
When it grows a nose.
Can you stop it when it's almost a fetus?
Before it grows a nose or fingers.
It's going to be a kid that maybe wins an Olympic gold medal.
If it's got to be somebody that changes the world. So
it could be a kid that is Sabrina Carpenter. It could be.
Literally, yeah. And the problem is, you can still abort it when it looks like a fucking baby.
You can abort it when it is a baby.
Oh, yeah.
You can abort it when it is a baby. You could understand why Christians would think that's demonic.
Yeah. I think anyone would think that's demonic.
You could believe in the woman's right to choose. Okay, me too. But what's that?
Yeah.
Like, what are we saying here? Like, you're going to just kill the baby?
Yeah.
So, Joe Rogan and Luis J. Gomez tried to have an enlightened and nuanced conversation about abortion on the JRE podcast this week. All they did was accidentally prove they are 100% pro-life and not pro-choice, as they both tried to claim. And watch them almost be aware and almost show empathy, only to immediately fail. You cannot convince me that either of these men like or respect women. Take a look.
Like, I have nothing after. I really don't believe in any of that. When people get into like these heated, passionate like debates about certain things, like abortion's a great topic for this concept. When you're trying to convince somebody that's religious, like, to be pro-life, you're like, you don't understand what's going on there, dude. They believe you're murdering a baby. You're not going to convince somebody that, like, oh, well, let me try to break this down for you right now. Let me try to give you a different angle on this. No, they believe that that's a life, a conception. They believe it's a soul. They really fucking believe that deep down. And that is like I kind of go like, well, no, I respect that. Like, I'm not going to, like, I'm pro-life, right? I was raised by women, and I just kind of grew up in New York, and we always sort of had that sensibility.
Do you mean pro-choice? Is that what you meant?
I'm sorry,
Freudian
I'm pro-choice.
slip?
I apologize. Right. But when my son was born, or even when I first saw the heartbeat, I remember I was like, that's a life right there. The heartbeat, that 6 weeks, whatever it was, I was like, that's a fucking life right there.
Starting his support for Women Strong, Lewis immediately frames the abortion debate emotionally, mentioning heartbeats, which diminishes the way people view women who have abortions, because he's humanizing a sonogram more than the person getting the sonogram. If he genuinely supported women, he wouldn't bring up arguments for the opposing side, and he wouldn't try to help explain pro-lifers' point of view because it wouldn't matter.
But when you're dealing with religious people who believe that that's a soul, and that is like the second it's conceived, you're trying to convince them that it's okay to kill a baby.
Right.
And it's never going to happen.
No, I think most people are just trying to get pro-lifers to see that regardless of how they feel about abortion, women have the right to body autonomy, and that shouldn't be taken away because some people disagree with what they choose to do with their own bodies. People who believe in pro-choice just want pro-lifers to mind their own business at the end of the day, because what any female does with her own body does not concern you. Women having the right to decide what to do with their bodies should not be a moral dilemma. Whether you like it or not, a woman's right to bodily autonomy is 1,000,000 times more important than the right of pro-lifers to not be uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, it's never going to happen. And I don't know who's right. That's the real problem. Like, for convenience sake and for living your life on your own terms sake. And see, my take on it is, first of all, I'm not a woman. And if you're talking about this and there's no chance of you ever getting pregnant, that's a weird thing. Because conceptually, yeah, that's a life, no doubt. I mean, not even conceptually, objectively, that's a life. It's going to become a human. But who am I to say, especially in cases of like incest and rape and, you know, crazy shit, who am I to say that you have to raise that kid, that you have to, that life has to, you have to change your body for the next 9 months, maybe irrevocably. I mean, maybe it'll just change your body forever. Maybe you'll have stretch marks forever.
Oh, yeah.
Because of this. because of this horrible thing that happened to you, because everybody says that this life is precious. Like,
Every time you got to feed at breakfast, you got to fucking.
if that was for men, if men got pregnant, abortion would be at gas stations. Fill it up and take it out. It would be. There's not a fucking chance in hell.
That's a
it
bit,
would be.
dude. That's a bit.
There's not a chance in hell that it would be a debate.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a debate.
Yeah.
If men make the laws and men could get pregnant, men would have abortions everywhere.
Yeah.
There's no fucking chance you'd be able to tell another man that he's going to have to keep a baby.
No. Yeah. It's very complex, and I understand both sides of it. You know, I really do. When people say that's a life, you can't. It's like I'm like I really get that. And when people go like it's a woman's body and it's her right to choose if she wants to eject this from her body.
So I just have to say, do you notice the language they've both used already when discussing abortion? Lewis used the word eject when referring to abortion procedure. It may seem subtle, but it's intentionally harsher language to make abortion seem more vile. Whether he's doing it subconsciously or not, his language is painting those who get an abortion as uncaring monsters who simply eject babies they don't want, like they're trash. Joe Rogan did a similar thing when he suggested abortions were done for convenience. This is framing the person who gets an abortion as an unfeeling, selfish person who sees abortion as just a simple decision, when this couldn't be further from the truth. I was impressed that Joe somehow had the wherewithal to understand men have no business discussing or having opinions about what women do with their bodies, only to watch him completely disregard that and say the most misogynistic and outdated and unacceptable things about abortion.
Before a certain time.
The weird thing is, like, at what point in time? Like, could you stop it when it's a clump of cells? Can you stop it when it's almost a fetus? You know what I mean? Like, it's such a human problem in that there's no. It's a weird fucking sloppy.
I think when it grows a nose. Yeah, before it grows a nose or fingers.
It's gonna be a kid. It's gonna be a kid that maybe wins an Olympic gold medal.
If it's got webbed fingers,
you know what I mean?
still.
It could be a kid that is Sabrina Carpenter and is on stage in front of all those people. You know what I mean? That's the weird thing about life.
It could be somebody that changes the world.
It could be.
Literally, yeah.
These idiots are so stupid, they repeatedly go against their own arguments. Like Joe saying, abortion is bad because the embryo may end up an Olympic athlete. If we are looking through the lens of all lives matter, then wouldn't this stance be wrong? Because it implies that there are differing values to human life. Second of all, he's framing gifted athletes as being important, but what if it was a drug addict? Would he want them born too, or is it only valuable if they meet certain criteria? It just shows that Joe doesn't even believe his own opinion because he has ascribed potential specific value to an embryo, rather than simply believing any life is worthy of being born regardless of what it could achieve. Plus, most everyone you meet sucks nowadays, and specifically people are sucking more and more each generation, the youngest being the most evil and unattached seemingly. So maybe we should cool it on assuming that an aborted baby was going to cure cancer. They were likely going to be just another piece of shit kid throwing rocks at birds, dad nowhere to be found, idiot mom laughing and watching, instead of telling them to be kind to animals so they develop empathy.
Really?
If you look at like child development, like month to month, I mean, when my son was being born, I was just like obsessively like looking at it. It starts looking like a baby way earlier than you think. And the problem is you can still abort it when it looks like a fucking baby. And you
could abort it when it is a baby.
Oh, yeah.
In certain cases.
Well, yeah, if it's like medically.
I knew a guy, his girlfriend had a late term abortion, and it was horrible.
Jesus.
Horrible to know that, like, she was showing. It was.
Well, there was that
this
one.
was in the 90s.
There was one video that went viral a while ago, and it was like they were talking to somebody in an abortion clinic with like a hidden cell phone camera, and they were like, "Well, what happens if you abort the fetus, you remove the fetus, and it's still alive, like on the table?" Yeah. They were like, "Well, we would have to at least extinguish life or something like that." It was like pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's like when the baby's out, you're gonna kill you're just gonna kill it. Just call it what it is. You're gonna kill a baby. It's bonkers.
And that's why, like, you could understand why Christians would think that's demonic.
Yeah.
Wow. It took them less than 5 minutes into the conversation about abortion before they compared women who get abortions to literal demons. Epstein and all his buddies are fine, but women who make private decisions with their private bodies are demons. If either of them were pro-choice, they would understand that it is not relevant how early or late an abortion is, or how far along a fetus physically appears. Abortion is a human right for all women regardless. They are ascribing meaning and morality based on their subjective beliefs about when life begins. Since none of us know the exact answer, it's a bad faith argument aimed at making women seem inhumane for getting abortions. And these are common tools pro-life arguers use to dehumanize and villainize women who exercise their right to an abortion. And don't try to tell me he's just pointing things out. He clearly agrees with everything he brings up. He just won't admit it clearly. But anyone with a brain can see these points he brings up are his true feelings on the abortion matter.
I think anyone would think that's demonic.
You could totally understand that. And to ignore that and throw it into this but I believe in the woman's right to choose. Okay, me too. But what's that?
Yeah.
Like, what are we saying here? Like, you're going to just kill the baby when it's alive outside the womb? Is it viable? Like, could it grow up and become one of your friends? Like, what are we doing?
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Could that baby grow up
and just live?
Yeah,
right?
and just have a wonderful life and have a great job. It's fucking weird, man. Because, like, what is life and why it's very precious to us, because if we don't have it, then we don't have a say in what's going on. But we're really just a fucking bunch of atoms and particles and molecules and everything spinning around at a different frequency. That's what we really are.
Your mushrooms are kicking in, Joe.
The answer to all of that is, it doesn't matter. This is not your body, this is not your life, and it doesn't concern you. You need to mind your own business and stop trying to police women's bodies based on your subjective moral beliefs. Abortion is a medical decision that no woman takes lightly, but even if they did, that is still none of your business. You need to take your morality and shove it up your ass, because currently, 5 out of every 100,000 babies born are being murdered by men anyways. Is it worth it for them to be born when, if they're born a girl, they will likely be sexually assaulted and more than once in their life? Why aren't you more concerned about all the babies that make it past birth but no further than 25 because men murder them? Mind your own fucking business when you have nothing to offer but bigotry and disrespect. And when you're doing absolutely nothing to help people already living in this world, who the fuck are you to catch feelings for the possible babies that could come into the world? What about all the unadopted babies already living with no home? Why aren't you taking them in, since you care so much about babies? How dare you judge women and make it easier for other men to judge them too? I'm so sick and tired of seeing grown men discuss the morality of women's decisions, especially when they know they are decisions they'll never have to make. Fuck both Lewis and Joe. May the women in your lives one day wake up and see who you really are and how little you cared about them. If you had cared about the women in your lives, you wouldn't even be having this debate. You would just understand, and you would know they deserve to live in a world where only they get to decide what to do with their own bodies.